Oh, they watching? That's a target. Beam on the gun, we gon' hit him regardless. Smoking on bro, now look what you started. Clap at your man, leave his head in the garbage. How about the V? Lil' Brody start sparking. Big ass 40, boy, pass me the cartridge. Aim at his head, no time for revolve. He been through that block, Lil' Brody gon' stomp him. He don't get to the bread, boy, fuck you doing? Nigga wrist my chain, Lil' bro start shooting. Use that brain in your head, fuck around, might lose. Couldn't hear the gun sounds, he was bumping my music. Better bob a weave or your ass get hit. Fuck a deuce, been his block with a stick. Got shot in his mouth, range looking like grit. Him shooting for the stars, so get off our dick. Keep mentioning Blaze, he gon' die today. Turn his death day straight to a holiday. I'm the one with the shot, Penny Hardaway. Had me been in my block, got head in his two-base. Line with the 3, now I'm feeling like D-Wade. If you broke niggas, cut dumb nigga, we pay. Oh, you think you bigger than me? Big clip can't put a nigga on the team. We ain't worried about the ops, niggas dying for free. Put his ass in the blunt if you play with the team. Caught his ass in the club, start him out with my feet. Yeah, I'm fast with the Mac, better go use a V. Skirt off for that stainless. You a dumb nigga trying to be famous. Smoking on Holly, give a fuck what they claiming. Give a fuck what they claiming. Oh, they watching? That's a target. Beam on the gun, we gon' hit him regardless. Smoking on bro, now look what you started. Clap at your man, leave his head in the garbage. How about the V? Lil' Brody start sparking. Big ass 40, boy, pass me the cartridge. Aim at his head, no time for revolve. He been through that block, Lil' Brody gon' stomp him. Oh, they watching? That's a target. Beam on the gun, we gon' hit him regardless. Smoking on bro, now look what you started. Clap at your man, leave his head in the garbage. How about the V? Lil' Brody start sparking. Big ass 40, boy, pass me the cartridge. Aim at his head, no time for revolve. He been through that block, Lil' Brody gon' stomp him. Smoke a bitch bustin' with stamina. At your crib, no Santa. Big no cancer, no.
Yo, there we go. You guys didn't hear nothing I was saying this whole time. That's so funny. That's so funny. But we'll get into the chit chats and all that good stuff. Just a momento. All right. What's hanging out? What's happening, everybody? Happy Tuesday. All right. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's hanging out. I wasn't gonna even be on, but I just want to talk about a little post I made and a little something that's a big thing for everybody. a big problem that I'm seeing with a lot of people nowadays. And no shade, no beef, no nothing. There's no hate, don't know nothing. This is a common problem. And this is something that I'm glad that Zoo brought it up so I can talk about it. So on the 21st, I saw a weird thing happening like the last couple of months, right? And it was just people talking about them, just posting about their mental illness, right? About their anxiety, their people in depression, all this other stuff, right? And I'm down with that. Talking about it from in the space of where I'm at, right? Where I went 25 years old without talking about my mental illness, you know, and to a space now where everybody's talking about it and it's becoming open dialogue conversation. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's magnifico, right? But again, it goes on to what Jay-Z said about the kneeling, right? Like, yes, do you get why people are talking about mental illness? Do you get that mental illness is a problem? Do you get that mental illness is a problem? Like the awareness is now there, right? Now, my fellow brethren and sisters that are struggling with mental illness, let's now go to phase two, you know, be the community that we see out to be. You know, what's going on, James? Good morning or good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Be out to be the change that you want to be, you know. See out, not even just that. Let's scrap that. But just being the community that we always wanted. You know, the biggest things about, especially for me, having this mental illness is that there wasn't a community. You know, I couldn't sit here and talk to people about it. You know, now there is. You see people that are out there and doing these things. You should have these open dialogue conversations. You know, best example I have is me and my best friend K Dragon. You know, shout out to Smurf. Like me and Smurf have been friends for over a decade now. We both have mental illnesses, and every day we talk to each other and we keep each other on. We make sure that we're managing our thing, right? Anyway, let me not skip steps. So I saw a bunch of that. So I did a post and I said, I'm seeing everyone every day posting about their mental illness, and that's dope, right? But why aren't we posting more on how we manage our mental illness than posting, oh, my mental illness strikes again? I think it's time we stop complaining and start helping each other. Now, and I get it, if people read this and probably like, oh, what a crazy fucker, da da da. Whatever. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be pretentious. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying something from, and that's the thing. Like nobody wants to say the elephant in the room, you know? Like I have, like, and I'm not gonna put nobody on blast, you know, but I have friends that post about their mental illness every day. Every day. Every day. Since 2020 happened, all they do is post about their mental illness. And it's like it's not getting better, you know? So it's like, why not talk about what we are doing and how we are managing it, right? So a bunch of people Jessica Taylor, I think that's Herbie's. No, not Herbie. Herbie? I think Herbie. I think that is Herbie's girl. Ralphie said, I agree. And then Zeus came out. She said, not everyone has a healthy way of dealing with it. One way may cope with one way someone may cope with it. Another person might try it and it won't work for them. Then they'll start to think, and then they might be more of the problem, right? And I get that, right? That's the fight that we have, right? Let's see. Before I yeah, but I'm not looking so damn it. Yeah. So Zoe said not everyone has the ability of dealing with their has a ability of dealing with it. One way someone may cope with it, another person might try it. It won't work for them. Then they start to think they might be more of the problem. So that's a big problem. That's a big thing, especially for people from mental illness. Especially when I first started tackling my chronic anxiety, that was a big thing I felt. When I was doing when I a lot of things that it's like, okay, let me recorrect. Everything in the sentence is a lot of problems that everybody in the mental illness community is having right now. One, we're taking other people's advice. We're not doing it on our own. Two, we're realizing that if that doesn't work, we're getting easily frustrated and thinking and automatically reverting back to ourselves that we're the problem. I know I agree with this because I did the same exact thing for a while until I had to learn what this is. A lot of these problems, a lot of the things about mental illness and stuff like that going around now is that people think it's like a cut, right? It's like, you got a cut. I put this on your thing, do this, let that shit sit. You're good to go, right? Easy, one stop shop, fucking ways of fixing it. Mental illnesses isn't really like that. As you can see with Kanye West, it doesn't work for everybody. Your mental illness isn't my mental illness. Even if me and you have anxiety, even if me and you got what you think is the same anxiety, it's still not the same adventure. It's still not the same anime, brother. I'm sorry. I wish it was that easy. I wish I can tell you how I managed it, and then I give you a outline, and then it's like, oh yeah, you just follow that, and then Sageway it out, and then you're good to go. I wish Sageway was that simple, but it's really not. Like with your mental illness, it gives you it. There's no right or wrong. There's no right way to not manage it. You know, it's like when it comes down to me and how I did it. I took very little lessons of what people told me what to do, and I started learning about what my anxiety is, what my triggers for my anxiety are, what what allows my anxiety even when I'm in it to still go rampant and crazy to a point where I don't want to leave the house, to a point where I don't want to be in a room with more than 10 people, where I don't want to eat, where I don't want to blink, where I don't want to get up, where I don't want to shower, where I don't want to do all these things. My anxiety started there. And then I started realizing, it almost gets into a lot of the problems with why people don't want, why people are not don't want, why people are having a hard time managing their mental illness, right? And is because a lot of people don't want to deal with the shit that they have. The reason why my anxiety went from a 20 to a 20,000, right? Because I lost my daughter in that miscarriage, and then I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to deal with it. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna push this on through and push it on through. And that was just the last little straw to just break the camel's back, where my mental illness was like, this is all we need now. Now we can take over, you know? And it'd take me if I could sit there and I could start identifying myself. So I can start understanding myself. I can start processing things. So I can start realizing what I went through, where I can start realizing my body, like my walk on my anxiety, on my walk on identifying my anxiety has been the craziest walk in the world. Where I started this in 2019, where before that I was a totally different fucking person. And now I'm this type of person that the things that I eat, things that I watch, the things that I intake on a consistent basis controls my body, because I've been learning that that's what my body wants and doesn't want, having that communication within oneself. And it sounds crazy, right? It sounds so um it sounds like psycho and stuff a little bit, right? Where you guys are like, what do you mean, like being together with oneself? Like, it's so weird to not sound like a crazy hippie and say that, but it's like it is. It's sitting down with yourself and just getting that, like, understanding, like, all right, body, what do you want? What do you feel? What do you need? And having that telepathic inside internal conversation with your mind, body, and spirit, and like understanding that, yo, for the longest we're out of fucking whack, for the longest we're this, for the longest we're in balance, for this, we're that. Again, I'm not saying, oh, this is the way. I'm just saying this is something that I figured out. I figured out how to identify myself and my problems and my anxiety by creating the characteristics that it developed over certain years and understanding what it is. And after me understanding it, me going, okay, now we're gonna set boundaries. Now we're gonna do this, and now you're not gonna take over me. I could go into, and it sounds so sci-fi, right? It sounds mad anime like when I say it, because it sounds like, oh, you watch too much anime, but it's like it's how it is. It's that simple, you know. Like it's super. Like I remember my brother David told me something one time, and he was like, the fact that people don't think that that they don't have control over their emotions or the things that goes on inside their body is insane, you know? And not saying that this fight is easy, not saying that this fight is light-hearted, not saying that anybody could anybody can do it, but not saying that it's super easy, that it's fucking Mario 64 type of shit, but it is simple, simplest ways are not easy, to get out of. If you're in the middle of a volcano, to get out of the volcano, it's super simple. You just got to get out of it. It's just not easy, just get out. Oh, it's that simple. Yeah, it is. It's just not easy. Like people connect simplicity with easy, and that's not really all that works. If so, give an old person that's never had a smartphone an iPhone, which is called the most simplest smartphone in the world, and they'll have a hard time understanding it because it's simple, but it's not easy. Managing your anxiety is simple. Everything in this world is simple because the answers are right there. It just doesn't make it easy. So to sit there and to think, and it's a lot like what she said. Like one way people may cope with it, that's a problem. I know you should never cope with anything. There's a difference between managing and coping. You cope with something that's just like, yeah, I'm just going through it. I'm coping. I cope through loss. I cope through mourning. I mourn and I'm coping through death. Anxiety or mental illness, you shouldn't cope with that. You should learn to manage it. And it's like, again, I say this to everybody. You want to get a good first couple of steps on how to manage your mental illness. Look up Jordan Peterson lectures. Any. Throw a fucking rock at at a wall of his lectures, and you'll probably hit something that'll give you great. A fucking foot in to how to manage your mental illness. It takes time, and it is an everyday battle. It is an everyday battle. This is something that we have to deal with for the rest of our lives. And that's it. And that's just what it is. Like, there's nothing. There is no, we do this shit for 6 months and that's it. I'm free. I'm da la la. Like, nah. It's our lives, bro. Like, I say this shit to everybody. I wish we were lucky to be these certain people that go throughout their lives and don't have any mental illness, no anxiety, no crippling depression, no fucking loneliness, no fucking schizophrenia, no fucking oh, 1 second, boys.